So listen, before I go to sleep, I need to tell you guys this, okay? So I chatted with someone from South Africa who is Afrikaner today, and who is going to be applying to come to the United States. And she was trying to explain her plight because she was seeing that a lot of people do not want Afrikaners over here as refugees. Okay, now I must strictly say that they don't want Afrikaners. We don't want Afrikaners over here as refugees with a refugee status. Okay, so she continues to explain herself, and she does not mention anything about genocide. She doesn't mention anything about someone taking her land from her. She doesn't mention any of that. As to the reason why she plans on coming to America with her children. This is the reason that she gave, which is not a qualification for a refugee status. Okay, she said that she couldn't find a job. Not only did she say she couldn't find a job, but she said she couldn't find a job because of her race. She believes she couldn't find a job because of her race. And she also believed that her children did not have a future in South Africa. That doesn't qualify to be a refugee. That honestly does not qualify. Do you know how many people in the United States of America can't find work? Do you know how many people just lost their jobs in the United States of America because of this administration? I mean, do they have refugee status? Can they fly anywhere and be like, oh, okay, well then, give me food, clothing, shelter, and everything, and your government needs to pay for it because we're refugees because we can't find a job here in the United States of America. Now, I'm not gonna lie. She was like, I don't have anything against my people in South Africa, nor do I, and I'm not racist. I'm just Afrikaner, and I just want to find a job. But I said, but you're not a refugee, not because not because you can't find a job. Simply because you can't find a job, you think you're a refugee? If that's the case, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't make you a refugee. She said nothing about any of the quote unquote genocide, any of the oh my gosh, all she said was she couldn't find a job. That's it. And the White House is allowing this.
Like, those people are lazy. They're lazy. They used to people spoon feeding them thanks to the apartheid government. And they like to project that they are the most hardworking group of people. No, you're not. You've always had things handed up to you. And you've always had people accommodating you and making your life easier. You are not the most hardworking group of people in this country. No one will ever convince me that the Afrikaners, not even apartheid makes them hard workers. No, they're not. Okay, apartheid shows them that they've been lazy. They were taken care of by the apartheid regime. Some of them are unemployed because they don't want to work. Do you understand? They don't want to work. They really don't want to work. And they're not even qualified to work for the positions that they want to work, right? That's why you'd see them. Whenever there's, like, in white schools, quote unquote, white schools, right? You'd see them. And if the principal there is white, you'd see them. Unqualified. And teaching black children, and black kids are so black parents, black kids or whatever, they are just happy. My teacher, I will slap any child of mine that does that. No, I will be much more happier if my children are taught by a black teacher in those white schools, because I know that they're damn well qualified. They overly qualified, and they can damn well teach my child. Those people are lazy. They're not going to do anything in the States. They're just going to eat free food. They're never going to do anything. They're that lazy. They're lazy. They're not going to do anything. They are lazy. And I'm gonna put other people here so that you can hear how lazy they are.
This video is for the white Afrikaners who are coming to the United States. I think you've already landed here. And I know that some of the folks who met you at the airport told you, welcome, we're so glad you're here. Most of us aren't glad you're here, okay? We don't want you here. We never wanted you here. And furthermore, I noticed they're gonna settle you in Idaho, Ohio, and North Carolina. I will tell you they're not our finest states, so they're a good fit for you. I understand that many of you are farmers, and I've seen a lot of people say, oh, that's great, we need more farmers. Sorry to say we don't. We actually need farm workers because we've deported most of them. So if you can, put your picking hat on and think about, picking produce, that's largely probably what you're going to be doing here because I hear you don't have a lot of skills. I would also say that you're not going to have to hold just one job, but probably 2 or 3 to make up for your quality of life that you had back in South Africa. There'll be no servants working for $2 a day. There's none of that here. So you're the servant who's working for $2 a day. So enjoy that. You're gonna have to pay for your health care, and ordinarily, because you're a refugee who's being discriminated against, you would go on Medicaid. But guess what? The Republicans just cut Medicaid. So I don't think you're going to have that option for healthcare. So maybe you'll do without. I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. I did notice that the Episcopalian Church had a program with the government where they would, they would resettle and help, refugees resettle. They find you all to be so onerous, they terminated the partnership with the government. And they said, yeah, we won't be resettling those folks. Other things that you need to know about. While we are 58% white here in the United States, that's not going to last much longer. Within the next couple of years, we're going to be the minority, which will be fun for you because that's what you're used to. Interestingly enough, we have a ton of Latinos. We're the second largest Spanish-speaking country in the world. So for you, if you could stop speaking that dirty, guttural, whatever it is, German, French, Dutch thing that you speak, that Afrikaans, nobody wants to hear that shit. So you can speak English or you can speak Spanish, which is really the second language here. In terms of other things that you need to know about, the Black people in this country, they don't get fucked with, okay? I know that there's a long legacy of colonialism and all kinds of stuff happening in your country, but our Black folks have sort of been through the fire, if you will, and they're not going to be fucked with. So you're the minority here. Enjoy. I really hope you like your time here. I'm going to bet my ass that you're going to be booking it back to SA probably within the next 12 months. Have a great day.
I wanted to welcome all the newcomers to my page. I also wanted to do a special welcome to the Americans. I see that my video on the White Afrikaans Refugee program did make it to the American side of TikTok. I just wanted to clarify a few things around the so-called refugees. First of all, not all of those refugees are actually Afrikaans speakers. I have found out that there are family members that were shocked to see their family members getting off the plane in America that are not Afrikaans. Secondly, I wanted to mention that Afrikaans is a language spoken in South Africa. It's the third most spoken language in South Africa, and the majority of speakers are not white. Okay? The next thing that I wanted to mention is that our government, South Africa, have highlighted that they haven't gone through a proper background check of these individuals. However, this didn't seem to be a problem because there is an American that is involved in assisting what they call themselves the Amerikaners, these people with their refugee process. Here is a video with him in. He's talking to one of the refugees.
No, you don't need a police clearance.
No, that's a South African thing.
Yeah, and
I told people they didn't need
they're
that.
they're wasting their time
and money.
Yes.
And also tipping people off that might be interested in the program.
I mean, who better than the United States to do a background check on you? Come on now.
Well, we will do background checks and things that you know about the background, but we're not going to take a certificate from police in the country. We'll do the checks ourselves.
Because,
yes, we know that happens. I'm not saying South Africa, but that happens in countries in general. And so we deal with that. So also people have asked me a lot of questions.
The problem with not doing background checks is that you didn't do a background check on their story. So the so-called refugee that the American is speaking to said that she was the owner of a guest farm in the Van Rieenen area in South Africa, and she had survived 4 farm attacks. Now, I'm not questioning the survival of 4 farm attacks, because as I explained in my previous video, when I actually made a video about this, is that a farm attack is a crime that takes place on a farm or a small holding. It is not related to who experienced the crime, it's related to where it took place. The issue though, is people in South Africa have started doing background checks. This lady doesn't own a farm. The farm that she said that she has now put in the market is owned, ironically, by 3 black people in South Africa. So she doesn't own a farm. And I found it strange when I was reading the article. I first thought, it must have been a terrible attack because, or what she experienced, because she said, if she doesn't sell it, she doesn't sell it. She's just going. She has to go. Okay, she's not the owner of that farm. Another so-called refugee was also found to have anti-Semitic posts, but also a number of other problematic views online. Now, I know being a racist wouldn't have been a problem, but it has been uncovered that there was anti-Semitic posts. And he also, for some reason, had photoshopped a number of photos, one of them being with the former President Jacob Zuma. He has admitted that this was a Photoshop, but he is pretending to be someone that owns mines in South Africa. What was also strange about him is that the whole idea behind the Trump administration's political project with these white South African refugees is that they're going there because they discriminated against them because of black economic empowerment. That particular man had a registered BEE company with a BEE partner. So they are there already, and there's a lot of people saying, but just let them be. But I think it's important from South Africa to make sure that we are totally honest on who you are getting, so that you do understand as Americans who is coming over, and also that you try and pressurize your administration to do proper background checks before they arrive in the US.
Definitely, laba bakhambile vele bazibiza ngama-Tech 2025. Do you still remember those guys that left on Monday saying ukuthi they are going to America? The Episcopal Church. The Episcopal Church is a church that is used in America whereby refugees ahlala khona. So they've got a contract, or they've got an agreement with the United States of America government. So now they are saying ukuthi they are going to review their agreement with the government of America, because bathi nabo Episcopal Church, the bishop, uthi laba babuya South Africa, asibafuni. Ababafuni, guys. Yeah, sometimes the grass can look very greener when you are on the other side, but once you arrive there, we are bona ukuthi akusinge lendlela le ebengibona ngayo. Hayi guys, bathi nangale ziyabakhalela bathi buyelani la nibuya khona nibalekeni kanti. Let me show you this.
A flight carrying 59 white Afrikaners from South Africa landed in Washington, D.C. today. The Afrikaners were the white minority group in South Africa that ruled during apartheid. The group was granted refugee status from the Trump administration as the Trump administration has accused South Africa's government of racially discriminating against them. The South African government has denied this. This all comes as the administration as a whole has essentially halted all other refugee admissions. The Episcopal Church was ordered by the government to help resettle the Afrikaners, but today the church took a stand, terminated its relationship with the federal government, citing a moral opposition to resettling the white Afrikaners. Joining us now is the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church, Bishop Sean Rowe. Bishop, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was a 4 decades old relationship across many administrations that ended today. Why did the classification of these immigrants as refugees cross a moral line?
Well, the reality is we can't be ourselves in the Episcopal Church and take the step of resettling white Afrikaners from South Africa. Our church has a long commitment to racial justice and reconciliation, and we have historic ties with the Anglican Church of South Africa. Desmond Tutu is a part of, been a partner in, was a partner in this work for us. So we're just not able to take this step. It's not in line with anything that we're about. And it also saddens us to see that other refugees who are being denied entrance to the United States are people, brave people who've worked alongside of our military in Iraq and Afghanistan, now face danger, have been in camps for a long time and aren't being allowed in. And so this is just, the program no longer aligns with where we are as a church and what we're about.